could please, Sister Hart, tell us about the importance of finding that strength, particularly during that time of incarceration.
The very first thing when you get into prison, you lose your identity. That's number one. You lose who you are. And a lot of times, a lot of times you once you lose who you are in prison, then they start to mold you and into becoming who they want you to be. And then you have to take on a character that fits the environment that you're in. For me, everything had been taken away from me. My 7 children, my 100 pieces of property, my home, my business, everything that I knew as a real estate investor, everything was just taken away from me. But the one thing that I bluntly refused to allow anybody to take away from me was my right to religion. You see, my right to religion was something that I was born with that. Man didn't give me that, and man couldn't take it. And I was hell-bent man was not going to take that from me. You done took everything else, I'm going to give you that. But my right to worship according to how I feel in here, I'm gonna die for that. So if y'all want to try to take that from me, you're gonna take my life to get it. And I was so hell bent on that, it cost me teeth, shoulder knocked out of place, fractured ribs. It cost me dearly. It cost me so intensely that the Baton Rouge Sheriff Department took me out of DOC's custody because my abuse was that intense. And I used to tell them all the time, you're going to get tired of knocking me down before I get tired of getting back up. And I'm still standing. So basically, what my beef became was religious freedom. And I went to school in the hole, because that's where I spent the majority of my time. The chaplain did tell me that I would do my entire tenure in the hole before he allowed Islam to come into that facility. And I helped him to understand he's late because Islam was here. Here I go. And we did it just like that. And before we left, I graduated in the hole, in paralegal, legal assistant, advanced legal litigation, civil law, and business law. In the hole, the very place. And all of that was done for one reason. That was to fight for my sister Hearts that was in prison. So I filed a federal lawsuit and am the first to ever win religious freedom in LCIW in St. Gabriel. And that's an accomplishment that I'm really excited about. So before I left, I can say that any woman, whatever she worshipped, however she worshipped, whether it be Buddhism, Jainism, Judaism, Wiccanism, whatever my sisters felt like they wanted to worship, they worshipped it. And I went to every service that they had. I was sitting up in there too. Whatever they did, I sat up in there and did it with them because I'm a sister-hearted. That's what we do for each other. And so one thing that I'll tell anybody, if you have family members that's in prison and you know anybody that's in prison, the one thing that gave me the fortitude to endure the abuse and the torture that I endured was my faith, which was unshakable. My belief in my Creator, my higher power, and the fact that I looked at those women, all 1,500 of them, and I looked at them as if they could have been my children, my mother, my aunts. Those women became my sister hearts, and I had a lifeline with those women. And because I had a lifeline with them, their life became important to me. But it was through religion that we were able to come together in one accord. Because you see, no matter what name you want to call it, the same creator that created heaven and earth and everything in between created me and all y'all out there too. He created us. We only have one creator. We don't have a creator that creates birds and bees and another one for the trees. It don't work that way. So that gives me a lot of inner strength. Mm-hmm.